Yo, what's good, everybody? I hope you all are having an amazing 2026 so far, and that your Rune Day was definitely a, I guess I would want to say a definite, productive one. I definitely enjoyed myself and got some things done, but that's not what today's video is about. At the end of the day, I think we got to have a discussion that most people have been having recently, but I want to give my take on it and from my perspective and my point of view of what I feel are some things I'd like to see change when it comes to Reboot GMS here for MapleStory. I think one of the biggest things is that when it comes to, at least on the early game side of things, the best way I can put it is that it, and everybody else has said this, but I think how I can look at it is that Nexon goes and they give us updates, right? But the problem is that the updates come into this pond and they're being funneled. The issue is that the funnel is a KMS funnel. And so it's being choked out every time it reaches GMS. And by being choked out, I mean, it just doesn't work. It's not fluid. It's not the best. It's not the worst, but you're definitely feeling like there's a lack of fluidity. There's a lack of power. There's a lack of just function when it comes to these updates that come out. And, the game is definitely in a way better state than it's ever been, especially from what I've heard from peers, from others that have played this game. But we need to get to a point of when is it going to become where we take the KMS funnel off and we put a GMS North American funnel on the game, so that when we get these updates, it flows, it's fluid. We're able to see this transaction from, update 1 to update 2, and it's structured. It's meant to be. It feels like it fits. And I feel a lot of the times we get these updates from shadowing KMS and it's not a fit. It doesn't feel like it fits us like a glove here on Reboot. And I feel like that's a big issue. And I hope Nexon fixes that. You may ask, like, well, okay, well, how do you go about, creating a GMS size funnel? I mean, we got to start looking at some of the things that we've complained about. I think one of the biggest things we complain about is, soul Erta fragments. Let's just start there. It leads to 3 issues: in indecisiveness, the lack of tradability, and thus leading to replay values / losing players quitting in the early game. I mean, when you first hop onto this game, I mean, there's so many different classes to play. It's overwhelming. At the end of the day, it is overwhelming. And, I'm not going to sit here and act like you're supposed to know. They do a poor job. And by they, I mean Nexon. Nexon does a poor job of getting you into the game. As far as digesting this game, it is a lot. You are drinking a water out of a fire hydrant. You're drinking water out of a fire hydrant. That's the best way I could put it. And it's just not digestible for those that are coming in fresh. There's so many different things. And so I think if one, they created a better tutorial, and they've done that, the thing is that, a lot of the changes they've made have been more for the long-term players, in the sense of, being able to skip some of the quests that happened in the beginning, as far as the class quest, going straight to level 30 and doing that. I mean, that's great, but if you've never played this game, there's a lot that you don't know about. I mean, heck, there's item and gear in the beginning that you don't even get. As far as, when have you heard about pets? When you get the shoulder piece, when, you do things when it comes to just getting a belt or whatever may have you, doing some of the beginner quests, there's pieces of gear that you get. And this is for those that are starting, not a hyperburn. If you're starting like mid-season and there's no hyperburn going on, what are your sources of gear? We have to go to YouTube and listen to different content creators help us walk us through. So that's something I love for them to change. Another thing, that I'd like to see is that when it comes to the indecisiveness of, picking a main character, I think in hand to hand, why are my frags not tradable in my account? Why are they not? For instance, if I have, 1,200 frags sitting on a class that I no longer plan to play anymore, why am I not able to trade those to my new main that I'm choosing to play? You keep me as a consumer for the game. My replayability just got better because now I feel like my time and effort has been, exercised correctly. People don't have time to do things like they did back in the day on World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 11, where you're sitting back and you're waiting 16 to 24 hours for a certain enemy to spawn just so you can get that gear. People aren't doing that. They don't have time to do that no more. It's unrealistic. And so we need to get the replayability back and the value of time. You're losing a lot of players who feel like, man, the meta just changed and this class I'm playing, I don't like it no more. And then boom, they quit, and it's just overwhelming. And, you put about, so much time into getting Meso and drop gear. And, from Math Bros, looking at their calculator, I believe it's anywhere from 3.6 billion per, just as a median to get a hybrid line, for gear. So what, you have 4 rings and then five pieces of accessories that you can use to cube for this. So what, you got 3.6 times, I'm trying to think, what is that, 8? No, 9? That's about 30 bill right there, 32 bill. Just this is rough estimate numbers, right? But you're putting 32 bill away just to put your character in a position to get these soul Erta fragments. At least make me feel like my time was worth it. I know there's other ways they can implement it, but I think you would make a lot of people here in Reboot happy if we could trade a frags amongst ourselves. We don't have an auction house, so why are the frags just sitting on the character? They're just sitting there. Reward me for my time. I'm on your game, and so I think that's just something that has probably been a long-term issue and hopefully gets fixed, in the near 2026 season that we're in. Another thing, I think it's just time to merge Hyperion and Chronos. We know that they can do it. We've seen them put 60 channels on Challenger's World. I believe there's 40 channels on Chronos and 30 channels on Hyperion. Why are we not just merging the two? Why? I really don't understand, so let's just get that done. And they might be doing that, I might be talking about something that's premature and it could be happening and it's on the way, but man, it would just be nice that they would hurry up and expedite this. I'm hoping in the next Inkwell, note that we get, we're going to get some communication on, what the future is for 2026. We got the Mystic Frontier and everything going on with the familiars. They're working on reducing some of these unnecessary lines when it comes to rolling familiars. Great. But I'm going to talk about it. This replayability. Let's focus on that. Can we get the replayability a lot better in this game? They got the piece down about leveling really quickly and all that. That's great. But again, I got 1,200 fragments sitting on another character that could just easily go to a new main, or even a Legion champ. They introduced Legion champs, and why am I not able to put, frags that I'm not using on another character onto that so that I can clear content quicker? I mean, there's just certain things I wonder, how is there a meeting that needs to happen? How much up the ladder does that decision need to go? And again, I'm just ranting here, but that's just my take on it all. Let's fix the indecisiveness piece, because what I mean by that is to combat the indecisiveness of people picking a main class, allow the tradability within your account. You don't feel like you wasted your time, or that oh man, I didn't just burn, a couple of months worth of progress. No, you could trade your fragments. That's something that should be there. You can trade Soul Erta, turn into boosters. Why can't we trade the fragments? And so that will help out on the replayability. You're going to keep more people. And then for those who might have quit, might come back and be like, oh wow, now I can use all the stuff that I had before on something new. And it's a fresh start. Again, replayability. But let's work on that. And as far as merging Hyperion and Chronos, I mean, I heard this from many other people. I think it should happen. Maybe the those Chronosians, I guess is the way you want to put them, they may not want it, but I mean, why not? I think it'd be great for the game, and it would be, oh my gosh, I think for content creators, for playability, new people coming to the game, oh my goodness, like there wouldn't be any feeling like I made the wrong decision. Nexon should work on for Reboot, eliminating the feeling like I have to make the right decision. Got to get rid of that. Got to get rid of that feeling like I have to make the right decision. Implement some of these things that will allow more fluidity and an ability to transfer your progress. Sure, put a timer on it. You put a timer on how many times you can delete or you have to delete a character. You got to wait 24 hours before you can fully delete it. Okay. Maybe you can only trade frags to a character, once a week, whatever. But come on now, reward me from my time. Reward me from my time and let me dictate how I can use those rewards. I don't think, and I think what you would see is probably see a lot less people. I mean, you're going to have botters. It is what it is, but you would at least have people who feel like, who are not botting, that their time is being spent, well. They know that, man, no matter what, this grind, it's not for nothing. It's the MapleStory is meant for the whole account to be leveled up, not just one character. So why are my frags not tradable? I asked that again. That's all I really got to say. We're not going to make this a 15-minute video of me ranting. I want to know what you guys' thoughts are up on this. I'm no expert, but this is just my opinion. I've seen a lot of different other people give their opinion, but as far as me and I go, I think we got a KMS filter on a lot of updates, a KMS funnel on a lot of the updates, and it's time to put a GMS funnel on there so that things can flow better and that we see a transition that fits us more here versus trying to a lot of the saying, what does it go, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't fit. So hopefully Nexon, make some changes. Hopefully we see that, before we get to May, before we get to the anniversary of a new year for Nexon. Hopefully we see that here, early communications, so people have stuff to look for, because I think if they announce anything early in this year about tradability, more account fluidity, you know how many people are going to be grinding like crazy in the beginning of the year? Start the first quarter off on the right note. We ended it really great. Now continue the momentum. Let's fix some of these things that we need to work upon. As far as the class balancing goes, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think we can address the account playability and fluidity. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Thank you for listening to my rant, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Be easy.